It is exactly 10 p.m. in the studios of UBC TV. Hello there and welcome to our second and final edition of News Tonight here on UBC TV. I'll be joined by Elizabeth Nakakoni shortly on sign language, and I am Rukidi Edward Kijanangoma. But first, let's have a look at our main stories.
Brought to you by
how to get points. Just use MTN to make calls, send SMS, load airtime, buy bundles, or pay for MTN subscription services.
Everywhere you go, MTN.
Mr. Muruli Mukasa presents torture report to Parliament. Uganda Investment Authority withdraws over 500 acres of land from 5 investors. FDC Deputy Secretary General Harold Kaita to raise flag in Iala polls. And in sports, 26-year-old teacher Isaac Opio wins the UBC Your TV AFCON Grand Prize.
Was brought to you by Everywhere You Go, MTN.
Hello there and welcome once again. We're coming to you live, online and on air from Broadcast House here on Nile Avenue. President Yoweri Kaguta Museveni has asked the United Nations agencies in Uganda to focus on fighting environmental degradation while meeting the United Nations resident coordinator in Uganda, Ms. Susan Ngongi Namondo, at State House in Entebbe. Museveni gave an example of farmers in eastern Uganda who are growing rice in swamps, an economic activity he said has a negative impact on the environment. The United Nations resident coordinator, Ms. Namondo, was seeking advice from the president on how the United Nations in Uganda can support the parish development model under the existing structures. She hailed President Museveni for the initiative as effective towards ending poverty under the principle of leaving no one behind. Ms. Namondo pledged to work with relevant UN agencies like the World Food Programme to see how they can focus their energies towards environmental conservation by helping farmers currently misusing the wetlands. While addressing guests at the celebrations to mark the 40th Tarehe Sita anniversary, President Yoweri Museveni said he will be launching the parish development model on February the 26th. Mr. Museveni also promised to return to eastern Uganda to engage the communities in the wise use of wetlands, also referred to as swamps. Now, President Yoweri Kaguta Museveni says, like it has been the norm, Uganda is always ready to work with whoever is elected by the people of Kenya as president. General elections in Kenya are scheduled to be on the 9th of August 2022. The president was meeting the outgoing Kenyan High Commissioner to Uganda, His Excellency Honorable Kiema Kilonzo, who is leaving after 3 years of service for a political contest in his native country. Mr. Kilonzo last year declared he will run for the Kitui governor seat this year, 2022. President Museveni reaffirmed his support and willingness to work with Kenya to strengthen the fraternal bonds of friendship and cooperation that exist between the two countries. His Excellency Kiema Kilonzo thanked President Museveni for the conducive working environment during his 3-year diplomatic tour of duty, where he witnessed growth in the business sector between Uganda and Kenya despite the COVID-19 pandemic. The outgoing envoy was grateful to the government and the people of Uganda for their friendliness towards the government and people of Kenya. The two exchanged views on regional and international issues of mutual interest. Mr. Kilonzo was appointed in 2018 by President Uhuru Kenyatta as the Kenyan ambassador to Uganda. To other news now, government is investigating a section of people alleged to have been tortured by security agencies. Minister for Constitutional Affairs Muruli Mukasa has told Parliament that government has secured a list of victims and taken notice of the matter. Deputy Speaker of Parliament Anita Among has requested the intervention of the Parliamentary Human Rights Committee to join government and speed up the investigations. This also comes at a time when the opposition wing in Parliament has continued to boycott the plenary session as they embark on the next course of action. We have more in this story.
Despite opposition boycotting parliamentary sessions, as announced last week by the leader of opposition, Mathias Mpuuga, government has pronounced itself on the alleged reports of torture of a section of people by various security agencies. A list of people are being investigated independently to ascertain the truth in the matter.
It was given to the police and other security agencies.
And maybe at a later time, we may need to find out where the 26 people come from, where they were arrested from, and what allegations were there for them to be arrested.
Parliament unanimously agrees that torture exists and it is immoral, no longer hearsay despite the blame being put to errant security individuals.
If the minister is serious on this, can they tell us the case they have opened up against officers who detained Kakwenzi?
There are also people who think that this is for opposition, this is for independence, these are for non-NRM. I can tell you, we all in society agree to disagree in certain times.
There are particular people who are doing it. We cannot say our good president is the one doing it. No. Our president for us is okay.
Government's address on torture follows the opposition in Parliament entering advanced stages of a campaign to impeach the Minister for Security, General Jim Muhezi, for alleged failure to end actions of torture.
We want to give these families a chance to make their complaint known, because we are going to pursue, we are going to demand for justice to these citizens. Victims of torture are going to be recorded so that we can also pursue justice for them.
Meanwhile, the Deputy Speaker of Parliament, Anita Among, has requested the Parliamentary Committee on Human Rights to join government and boost the investigations.
And we will want a report in this House for us to know whether what was said is correct or not. This must be accounted for. We cannot tolerate this kind of thing in society.
Daniel Mugoya, Gloria Gutabinji, UBC News.
The Uganda Investment Authority has withdrawn over 500 acres of land from 5 investors who have breached the investment contract. Minister for Finance in charge of investment, Evelyn Anite, says the move was intended to block investors who have delayed the investment plan.
We have a backlog of over 500 investors who could actually be serious with capital to invest. So what we are trying to say is, if you have been given land, you have been occupying it 5 years, 10 years, 4 years without putting investment, we are going to take it away such that we get serious investors who are going to deploy capital. 500
acres of land have been withdrawn from 5 investors who have breached the investment requirement. Affected investors include Tirupati Developers Uganda Limited, who has lost 6 acres of the 8 acres that were located in 2009. Mariana Agencies Limited has lost 50 acres of the 76 acres given in 2014. Others include Sagfarm Uganda, Divine Oil and Zimburi Holdings Limited. The consideration for withdrawal of the land included, among others, delays by the investor to develop the land within the required time frame, leasing out government land to other developers without authorization from Uganda Investment Authority.
These lands have been reallocated to different people. For Sagfarm, we have allocated it to Allied Graphic Systems. For Divine Oils, we have reallocated this land to Engineers Investment. For Tirupati, we've left them in 2 acres.
According to Minister Evelyn Anite, Tirupati Developers Uganda breached the contract when they hawked the land acquired freely without authorization. Foreign investors are usually required to develop at least 70% of the land within 18 months of acquisition, while domestic investors are required to develop at least 30%.
And then I said, look, what is the problem? They said, oh, now we are moving, we didn't have money. We now want to move and develop the land together with Uganda Free Zones Authority. When they reached there, another 5 years was wasted.
Minister Anita says the authority has already lined up a team of lawyers to recover the money that will be spent in court. A warning has further been sounded to other investors to desist from delaying government projects and putting government to costs.
That has held 76 acres of land for 10 years, doing nothing. How do you expect us to have 500 factories if someone sits on 100 acres just putting soil or backfilling? Supposed to have created 200 jobs.
Uganda's 5 years investment agenda is to develop at least 25 parks within 5 years. Susan Naung and Andrew Sebira reporting for UBC TV.
A Forum for Democratic Change, FDC opposition party, has declared Harold Kaija, the Deputy Secretary General of the party, as the party flag bearer in the coming East African Legislative Assembly EALA polls. Kaija got 27 out of the 52 cast votes, winning the flag from the 5 candidates.
The results declared by the FDC Electoral Commission Chairperson Toterebo Boniface declared Harold Kaija winner to represent FDC in the forthcoming EALA polls.
Proclamation of the winner.
In the overall poll, out of 75 eligible voters of FDC NEC members, only 52 turned up, where Harold Kaija won with 27 votes, Joseph Tindiewa took 15, Wante Jamal polled 14, Susan Nanyonjo polled 5 votes, while Seluge Yasin polled nothing. Ari alone, the 5 candidates in the race took time to convince the electorates their eligibility to represent Uganda in the East African Legislative Assembly.
You should stay very firm. I will overcome that challenge if by God's order it happens. And God help me not to happen.
Many people at any occasion. So as Nanyonjo Susan, I'm going to put my emphasis on skills.
Assure that this country, if we are to have an effective East African community, we must respect the treaty. We must all be able to obey the principles of democracy and human rights. I want to seek for the support. I want to seek for votes from colleagues.
Request my colleagues here to concede and allow me proceed to the next level.
The Deputy Secretary General of the party, also among the candidates, Harold Kaija, said he had capacity to woo potential voters come the day of choosing EALA representatives.
Issues of human rights has become common in many of now the East African countries, and it must bother any leader in East Africa.
Meanwhile, as the rest will be competing to represent their respective parties at the East African Legislative Assembly, the battle line will equally be among the independent candidates.
You must know ideas, not bandwagon support. It's here versus
Ideas versus bandwagon. What do bandwagon help with the people down on the grassroots?
Moses Ategeka has shown interest for the soil sport.
Candidate who is going to bring it down to the ground, the grassroots. People sell their products at 500 shillings, but when they pull them in these city centers, they are selling them at over 5,000. You know the benefit of this. So it's our work, our task, our determination that
in the
will
coming
take us
year
there.
of 2023, East African Legislative Assembly will have new members from the concerned countries. Uganda has 9 slots in the East African Legislative Assembly, where the ruling party NRM has 6 positions, other political parties have 2 positions, and independent with 1 position. Abdul Nasili Lubwama, UBC News.
Now, Masereka Samuel Busindi, the alleged torture victim, has filed a suit against the Attorney General and the former Chieftaincy of Military Intelligence, SMI boss Major General Abel Kandiho, following the alleged torture while in illegal detention. Masereka wants court to order the respondents to compensate him and that their actions were illegal and infringed on the applicant's rights. The suit has been filed at the High Court Civil Division here in Kampala.
Kasese National Unity Platform's registrar Masereka Samuel Busindi alleges to be tortured by unknown security operatives, whom he alleges were attached to chieftains of military intelligence CMI.
It was around 2. They transferred me to Kampala. There were other inmates that I asked that where are we now? Then they told me that we are at CMI in Buya. But on Sunday, they called me for interrogation. That's when they tortured me.
He claims to have been picked from Kasese on 7th January 2022 and was in illegal detention for 19 days.
Actually, they can beat you from morning up to evening. They beat you to the extent of fainting. Actually, all my body is having scars, even the head. I have other organs that are now damaged, and most sensitive organs.
Samuel Busindi Masereka, through his legal team, has filed a suit against the Attorney General and the former CMI boss, Major General Abel Kandiho. The case was filed at High Court Civil Division in Kampala. Masereka based his application on 5 grounds, highlighted to court the torture which was inflicted on him while in illegal detention at CMI in Buya for.
I know they purported to sign a bond with a charge called subversive activities, which is unknown under our laws. That's why I'm saying he was released without charge. So we have instituted a matter against the government of Uganda. He was, in the very least, had command responsibility to ensure that officers under his command do not do unlawful activities.
Masereka's lawyer, led by Judge Musi, want court to compel the respondents to compensate the applicant and declare their actions against him illegal.
One is for court to send out a strong message that whatever they did to him was criminal, because Mr. Masereka, as you can see, still facing treatment, and he may have suffered permanent injuries. We are therefore thinking that at the end of the day, court shall send out not only that strong message, but also order them to not only pay the damages he has incurred, but also send out a punitive message that this kind of practice should stop.
Masereka appeared in court while limping, with visible wounds seeking justice.
If they failed to arrest me and take me to court and charge me, and me have opted to bring them to court, for the court to see whether they did whether they did the rightful, or whether they did what they did was not right.
On several occasions, President Yoweri Kaguta Museveni has condemned the torturing suspects, which infringes the suspect's rights and is not acceptable. Deborah Namamonde, Nantongo Rebecca, UBC News.
The Ministry of Water and Environment is promoting integrated water resources management. Now, while opening a national validation workshop baseline assessment report of contribution of the blue economy to the sustainable economic development of Uganda at Entebbe, The Assistant Commissioner, Directorate of Water Resources Management, Albert Orijabo, said there are no relevant laws to support this integration, which is a challenge to ministries, departments and agencies. Farida Nafuka reports.
Intergovernmental Authority for Development is validating the baseline assessment report on how to use water resources like marine, oceans, seas, lakes, rivers, groundwater and wetlands in Uganda for sustainable economic development. This is a new concept known as the blue economy that addresses both coastal and inland countries. This validation has been done in 5 IGAD countries and Uganda is the 6th. Findings indicate that operations of institutions that relate to water resources like agriculture and fisheries have not been integrated.
That the institutional arrangement is still not clearly defined, and we also identify lack of platform. The economy concept, if there are projects coming to increase the value of fish landed in terms of improving quality, processing, value addition.
Fisheries, tourism, mineral extraction, marine and river transport sectors have been significantly developed, while emerging sectors like aquaculture and renewable energy need investment.
Legal frameworks that can be able to reinforce and elaborate the implementation of our national development plans. And then also legal frameworks that will empower our technical ministries. For example, the Ministry of Water and Environment, the Ministry of Fisheries, Agriculture and Livestock, all the ministries that contribute to blue economy, including the Ministry of Works and Transport.
Ministry of Water and Environment is promoting an integrated water management framework to manage water from the entire value chain.
Ministry of Agriculture wants to improve the stock of its fisheries. And yet there is a lot of pollution from an industry. And yet it is the Ministry of Water handles pollution, agriculture is promoting fisheries. How do we sit together with them? How do we promote irrigation across? How do we boost tourism by protecting ecosystems and what have you?
Consultations through validating reports are meant to include missed information, come up with a national report that will give an input in the regional report. I'm Nafka Farida and Dan Lugemwa in Entebbe.
Members of Parliament from cattle-keeping communities in Uganda have called for establishment of village security committees to complement government efforts in fighting cattle rustling. Tororo District Woman Member of Parliament Sarah Achiengo Pende wants cattle theft-related security challenges addressed at border points with other outside cattle-keeping countries. Now, this was in reaction to Internal Affairs Minister David Muhoozi's report that suggested recruitment of GISOs right from village level to support proper identification of kraals.
Most of the sub-counties bordering Karamoja sub-region, they have lost almost all their cows, their cattle, due to these rustlers.
It was raised as a matter of national concern on the floor of Parliament. Agago District Woman Legislator Beatrice Akelo told Parliament that cattle rustling had spiraled from Karamoja sub-region to Acholi.
So we pray that if government can really add on the strength and more detaches in Agago, it would help really a lot to curb down the atrocities caused by the cattle rustlers.
The Deputy Speaker of Parliament, Anita Among Anet, tasked government to take action.
Minister, even Sebe is about to stand up, but I'm telling them, please, the response will be one.
A report presented by State Minister for Internal Affairs, General David Muhoozi, details government strategy.
Working with ISO, we are working at recruitment of low-cadre ISO staff from the villages upwards, who will help in early warning regarding this problem, like we do in Karamoja.
But some members of Parliament poked holes in the effectiveness of some suggestions.
What are the root causes of this raid? Because when you know the root causes, you have to tackle the problem from the root causes.
Some people, especially in the cattle corridors,
they have the cattle as their only livelihood. And some have very few. And you find that this cattle has been taken away all. What is the plan that we have, that government has, to compensate these people?
Other legislators shared possible solutions to cattle rustling.
We need to diversify the sources of income for the people of Karamoja, because for them, they believe that it is only through cattle that they can be able to get income and sustain their livelihood. So the Ministry of Agriculture is key in resolving this challenge in Karamoja.
Some ideas were bought with a promise to incorporate them with a long-term strategy towards ending cattle rustling.
Government needs a conscious effort to reform the farming practices among the pastoral communities, as Sarah had said it.
How such suggestions will be implemented is what the country will know after 3 months, when a report is expected before Parliament. Henry Okrut, UBC.
A Ministry of Education and Sports has released a list of Lot 2 Students' Loan Scheme beneficiaries under the arrangement that enables access to education for all. A State Minister for Primary Education, Joyce Moriku Kaduchu, together with the Higher Education Students Financing Board, told journalists in Kampala that the release targets Karamoja region and persons living with disability.
The release of the successful Students' Loan Scheme beneficiaries are both from university and tertiary institutions of learning. Among is Makerere University, Kyambogo University, Gulu, UTC Kichwamba and Uganda Institute of Information and Communication. Parliament allocated Uganda shillings 6 billion to fund the Higher Education Student Financing Board.
Also placed in a demand, a budget request of approximately 1,000 students who are continuing, say from second year, third year, fourth year, and that will require us about 4.5.
Once again, my great honor on behalf of government of Uganda to release the Lot 2 beneficiaries for the financial year 2021-2022.
97 beneficiaries of the scheme will be from Karamoja sub-region.
There's always been quite a few because we have been receiving few applicants from that region. Northern Uganda was deliberately considered under affirmative action by the board and has had a good representation of successful loan beneficiaries.
The Higher Education Student Financing Board has achievements and challenges.
In budget allocations in relation to the numbers that need the service, and also the new normal which requires learners to engage on open and distance learning platforms, which provides a new challenge where we are now considering supporting the beneficiaries with enabling tools such as laptops to support online learning.
The Students' Financing Scheme will increase enrollment of learners into higher institutions of learning. Tumwine Brian Biaruhanga, UBC News.
The Committee of Parliament on Tourism, Trade and Industry has tasked the management of Uganda Wildlife Research and Training Institute to reappear before the same committee to justify why they need new structures. The institution management was appearing before the Committee of Parliament on Tourism to present issues affecting them in Katwe Kabatoro Town Council in Kasese District.
Established in 1996, Uganda Wildlife Research and Training Institute is the only institute that teaches wildlife research and training in Uganda. The increasing population at the institute and in preparation for more, management sought for 30 acres of land in order to expand into Center of Excellence in wildlife research and training, which will accommodate the bigger number of students. But the committee chaired by Mwine Mpaka at Katwe Kabatoro noted that the reasons advanced were not sufficient enough and needed more to support the idea.
So what we need is a justification. Otherwise, we need this institution and we think it can be run better.
Now we're going to build a much bigger facility, so we need to be assured that these young people will get jobs. Otherwise, we're going to create structure and employment where what you're teaching the young people does not have demand out there.
The State Minister for Tourism and Wildlife Antiquities, Martin Mogara, said they are aiming at awarding high qualifications, not only certificates.
And of course, still, we are not buying land. We've got land from the sister agency, that is OA, that has been able to allocate the 30 acres. Let's grow it to an extent of offering postgraduate and graduate courses, so that we produce human resources that can even compete, not only in Uganda, but even outside Uganda.
For example, we are already in the East African community. So in the East African community, we need to work together. And you are already aware that tourism is one of the sectors that has been contributing a lot to the GDP of this country.
The construction of the new structures is estimated to cost Ugandan shillings 44 billion, with 17 billion already earmarked.
You want more 27 billion.
Faith of Unity leaders have started a campaign to ensure that their activities are spread across the country. This was during their latest prayer session hosted at their Kachumbi office in Kakabara, Kyegegwa district.
The head of the Faith of Unity, Omukwenda Kugiziwe Bisaka, has dispatched 789 of his followers to visit various destinations across the country. The drive targets spreading the faith of unity in many areas. Omukwenda Kugiziwe Bisaka advised his followers to embrace unity to avoid sectarianism.
Omulimo ogw'Omukama Ruhango w'amahigona ogwamulesera omunsi akajja kuteraniza abantu baterane okwafukana kwera okimu omunsi yoona obunobani bubeera mu kimu omunsi tube bamu tugonzangane tuganyirangane okwafukana kwera okimu omunsi yoona.
Kyegegwa Resident District Commissioner Grace Asimwe appreciated the Faith of Unity for its developmental ideas based on the principle of hard work.
Kandi muntu asemiriza muno era president mwebembesi ayatumibwa buhanga bw'okuba era n'enyoni mulole enkulaakulana yalisira omunsi mu Uganda enkulaakulana nyingi enguudo obusinge.
Faith of Unity was founded about 42 years ago by the Owobusobozi Bisaka.
We'll now take a short break and return with much more. Do stay with us.
Brought to you by.
We're here to build because at the end of the day, we're truly Ugandan.
MBs are now bigger MBs only on MTN. When you load a daily bundle of 250 shillings, you no longer get 15 MBs, you get 25 MBs. For 500 shillings, you no longer get 40 MBs, you get 65 MBs. For 1,000 shillings, it's no longer 100 MBs, it's 165 MBs. Dial *150*10# or use the My MTN app to load bigger daily bundles only on MTN.
Raising voices.
As a teacher, I have the opportunity to shape how children grow and learn. I believe in creating a non-violent school where children feel safe and respected. I promise to lead by example and create a different kind of relationship with my learners, one that helps them grow.
In this time of COVID, what is your promise to the children of Uganda? Because a violence-free childhood is everyone's right. Raising voices.
Start the year off with My Airtel 4G smartphone. You get to enjoy free 1 GB data valid for a month and 100% bonus data every month for 3 months at only $200 250,000 Uganda shillings. This includes free data spread over 3 months worth 86,500 Uganda shillings, making the effective price of the 4G phone 163,500 Uganda shillings only. Visit the nearest Airtel shop and get one today. Airtel, the smartphone network.
COVID-19 is still here with us. As Owechitiwa Peter Maiga, the Prime Minister of Buganda, states, let us all take the necessary precautions.
Self-medication is always very dangerous. We should leave medical matters to the medical personnel. It's only a healthy population that can produce wealth. And if you want to work for your well-being, you must care about your health first.
Because of the new COVID-19 circulating variants like Omicron, it is very important for all of us to be fully vaccinated with 2 doses of the same vaccine type. It's only those getting Johnson & Johnson who receive only a single dose to be fully protected.
Even after vaccination, continue to adhere to all SOPs by wearing a mask properly, covering your mouth and nose, washing your hands regularly with soap and clean water, or using an alcohol-based sanitizer, maintaining physical distance of at least 2 meters from others, and avoiding crowds. Echa COVID-19, chija kugwa. This message is from the Ministry of Health with support from UNICEF and partners.
Your MBs are now bigger MBs only on MTN. When you load a daily band of 250 shillings, you no longer get 15 MBs, you get 25 MBs. For 500 shillings, you no longer get 40 MBs, you get 65 MBs. For 1,000 shillings, it's no longer 100 MBs, it's 165 MBs. Dial *150 *10 hash or use the My MTN app to load bigger daily bundles only on MTN.
Welcome back from that break, and this is News Tonight here on UBC TV. Let's have a look now at what's happening in the world of business. Ministry of Tourism, Wildlife and Antiquities and partners have launched a 2-kilometer Walk for Love campaign to promote Uganda's tourism across Africa. The walk creates awareness for policymakers to embrace local tourism for a sustainable tourism sector. State Minister for Tourism Martin Mugara told the media that the Ministry of Tourism and partners will hold the Walk for Love campaign to showcase Uganda's tourism in Africa. Meanwhile, with more than 80% of the arrivals coming from Africa, Uganda Tourism Board will continue to promote tourism across Africa.
So I still want to implore the Ugandans, please travel this country, please enjoy it. The infrastructure is very good. I keep saying this, that even with the small VITs, if you're 4 people and you shared fuel, you need 20,000 to go to Makshon and back. And if you're to enter the park, of course the prices have gone down now. For Ugandan or an East African, you only pay 20,000 shillings. And there's even a promotional package now by UA, where you only pay 100,000 shillings. You buy a single ticket and you can enter the park as much as 1,000 times.
We brought on board a farm that is called Poland. We brought it on board at the end of last week, and it is going to be, it is being tasked to further promote Uganda within the African region.
Cooperation for Africa and Overseas CFAO Motors, formerly Toyota Uganda, is in partnership with NCBA to provide vehicle financing to individuals. While unveiling of the partnership in Kampala, the acting CEO, Mark Muyobo, told UBC that the initiative mitigates hurdles towards the acquisition of a brand new car.
NCBA Bank Uganda has partnered with Cooperation for Africa and Overseas CFAO Motors, formerly Toyota Uganda, to provide a convenient vehicle financing to individuals.
And we are launching an affordable car today, actually 2, and we expect that the financing costs that we have actually put in place will actually be affordable. And in that case, we will ensure that we keep our customers happy, and therefore we are able to grow our customer base.
At the signing of a memorandum of understanding, Acting Managing Director NCBA Bank Mark Myobo said the partnership is the best financing solution on the market to address financial challenges caused by the COVID-19 pandemic.
So if you go and get a facility today and you are successful in getting the facility and you drive away with the vehicle, that means the next repayment of the facility will be 60 days after you have got the facility.
What NCBA brought is the ability to remove the initial hurdle and then allow new cars to be within reach of both individuals, businesses, and even NGOs.
NCBA Bank will enable customers achieve financial resilience while creating business sustenance.
A lot more in the future is making your life much better, making the lives of our customers much better, and trying to bring financing closer to you, our customers.
The asset financing package will cater for Suzuki and Hino, Corolla Cross, Starlet, and Urban Cruise. Aviona Francisco, UBC News.
Uganda Revenue Authority has handed over an imposter and a deserter of the UPDF to the military for more investigations over impersonation as an employee of the authority. Sergeant David Okurut was intercepted in Bugiri district trying to extort money from the public in names of URA employee. He deserted the UPDF in 2010 and has been in hiding to date. URA has handed him to Major Wilson Kajura from the Chieftaincy of Military Intelligence, CMI, for more investigations. Take a watch.
So this is Okurut David, who was camouflaging as the UPDF as the URA officer, and we have discovered, as we have told you, that he's a deserter. So we are now going to hand him over to the UPDF, who will now manage from here going forward. Especially on issues that are involved with the elements of people who go and spoil our name. So there are some people, the public would complain that there are some people who come camouflaging as if they are Uganda Revenue Authority staff, and they begin to distort money from people. So as part of our relationship with the public, we told the public around those areas, in especially eastern part of the country, and we also have some people around Chikubo telling people that work for Uganda Revenue Authority, so if you don't give us money, we shall call. And some people who were dealing in engine oil, so when he got them, so the public quickly came to say, by the way, who is this one?
His connections with the military. He deserted the military, and the military, we call it absent without leave at all. And that was in August 2010. That is when he deserted the UPDF. And by the time of the Commission of Defense, he was no longer a UPDF serving militant. But because he was masquerading as a UPDF soldier, it is incumbent CMI to pick him, and I'm going to take him, continue with investigations with a view of prosecuting him.
Okurut's 40 days finally caught up with him. Kampala District Youth Council has supported Kampala Capital City Authority in its operations against hawkers and street vendors in Kampala. The youth say the good initiatives have always been fought by self-seeking politicians, as we hear in this story.
Kampala Capital City Authority operations against street vendors and hawkers in the city was to compel them join markets in Kampala. Although many seemed unhappy, Kampala District Youth Council approves Kampala Capital City Authority for a smart city.
Please join the gazetted places where KCCA has gazetted for you, so that we do business in the city. We have come to notice that in the vendors, there are those that are doing wrong actions. There are those that are having wrong motives. We have realized so many videos have been on social media circulating. Someone is buying like a cloth, in the end they turn the cover around, they put a stone, they put something else. Is that business? Government has put for you plans, government has for you programs. We have a myoga, we have parish models. There's a myoga for the markets.
Alex Chiwendo advises street vendors and hawkers from seeking politicians, but rather follow Kampala Capital City's proposals.
Don't let politicians mislead you. Don't let politicians misguide you. KCCA has a better plan for the vendors in the city. We as the leaders of this city, what we want to see is an organized city, a smart city. KCCA has given us tenders as 7 Hills. The youth are cleaning the trenches. The youth are cleaning the roads. Every morning you see youth on the road sweeping. Every morning you see youth in the trenches cleaning them. All we need right now is to see an organized city.
It is alleged that over 500 youth have so far occupied main markets like Usafi, Wandegea Market and St. Valley Kudembe.
Some street vendors sell food items that are not well protected and are in poor hygiene conditions. This has led to the increase in preventable diseases.
They have appealed to Kampala Capital City Authority to address insecurity and bring the probable culprits to book. Sudat Kai, UBC News.
Sports news now, and we begin with football. During the just concluded Africa Cup of Nations, Uganda Broadcasting Corporation partnered with Your TV and ran a Predict and Win campaign. Several goodies were rewarded, with the grandest of them a motorbike taken by Isaac Opio. We have more in this report.
Isaac Opio has received his motorbike following a successful Predict and Win campaign on UBC during the Africa Cup of Nations.
A good forcer, we have given away that motorbike to the lucky winner, that is Opio.
This campaign was run in partnership with online app Your TV and witnessed several Ugandans winning themselves hampers. The hampers included several goodies, mobile phones and cash. But the grandest of all has been the motorbike won by Soroti's 26-year-old primary school teacher, Isaac Opio.
And I would like also to thank UBC TV and Your TV for giving me this very great chance that has improved my life. I've been there, with us teachers who are on private during the lockdown time, we suffered, but now I feel my life has changed. With this motorbike, it has simplified my movements. Even when over the weekends, I can go outside there. I also make some 2,000, I come back. So I see my life has changed.
Promise from both UBC and its newest partners, Your TV, is that upcoming live sports events will generate even much more hype with bigger prizes. John Barnes, Sentamo, reporting.
Badminton now, where Uganda is set to host the Thomas and Uber Badminton tournament that starts this Monday at the MTN Arena in Lugogo. The best badminton countries in Africa will compete not only for prizes, but also qualification for the World Badminton Championship in Bangkok, Thailand. Emoningabo reports.
South Africa will be the first country to arrive in Uganda this Friday ahead of the All Africa Seniors Badminton Tournament to be hosted at the Lugogo MTN Arena. The tourney starting on Monday will host different genders competing in Thomas and Uber tournament.
Now, my players are in camp, and I would say the spirits are high. We have no major injury, so I'm just hopeful that we'll be able to perform to our expectation.
Uganda looks not only to stage the best competition, but equally compete and win the overall prize.
Well, from the All Africa mixed team to this senior championships, which has separate Thomas and Uber, the girls are playing alone, so we expect much better performance because all the girls are strong and the boys are strong, so we expect more in this tournament.
The tournament doubles as qualification for the World Badminton Championships 2022 in Bangkok. Uganda will be represented by 12 players, 6 boys and 6 girls respectively.
We are in a camp together, all the boys and the girls. We train together, and it's for the better of the team, because if everyone is together, we are focused, and that daily training is going on as usual, Monday to Sunday. We're not having any rest because we really need to win these championships.
Players like Brian Kaslia and Fadia Shamika have camped in Dubai for a high-level coaching camp. The two have now joined their counterparts in a residential camp. Mandela Group of companies are sponsoring the tournament with all trophies in the singles, doubles and mixed doubles. Focus later will be on the Commonwealth Games in Birmingham, England.
Motocross now, and all is set for round 2 of the National Motocross Championship that's due on the 6th of March 2022. The event will attract the country's best riders from all the known categories of the sport. John Sentamu gives us more.
Garuga's truck along Entebbe Road is bracing for the second round of the National Motocross Championship. Clerk of course George Semakula is optimistic that this round due on 6th March 2022 will attract some of the best, including Miguel and Jonathan Katende, and will live to its billing.
On that day we shall have all categories. We have MX50 Junior. I intend to combine the two classes, MX50 Junior and MX50 Senior. And then we shall have MX65, which is the most competitive currently, with about 16 riders. And then we shall have 85, then MX125, Vets and Masters combined together. We shall have MX1 and 2, where Hashim and Jingo Robert compete. And I think these two here in MX2 are their counterparts, competitors, Alistair, Arthur Bleak, and the rest will be competing with them.
This motocross second round will be used to gauge riders ahead of 2 mega events, the All Africa and the East African Championship. The March 6th event will be spiced by a rally cars competition at which current National Rally Championship leader Ponsiano Rwakataka is expected. John Barnes, Sentamu, reporting.
Thanks, Barnes, for that story there. Now let's have a look at the weather forecast for tomorrow with Millie Kutesa.
Thanks for tuning on UBC. My name is Grace Amelia with your weather update. We are still experiencing hazy conditions in most parts of the country, but mainly northern part of our country. Though some parts of Lake Victoria are having light showers. Looking at the satellite picture, we are still having the ridging over the northern part of our country, pushing in the hazy, dry, cold conditions towards our country, and the rainfall that we're receiving lately is due to the local effects over Lake Victoria. Tomorrow morning, we expect to wake up with sunny intervals in most parts of the country. Apart from some few areas across lake shores, I expect to have light rains. Afternoon hour though, we expect a continuation of light rains over Lake Victoria, but the rest of the country will continue with sunny intervals. Temperature to be between 31 and 32 over the northern part of our country, 27 across lake shores including Capital City Kampala, Kampala Highlands with 23 degrees Celsius. Who's moving out of Uganda, trying the cities across the globe? The few ones we have for you, like New Delhi has the light showers at a maximum 14 degrees Celsius. Kyle and New York with cloudy conditions at maximum 9 degrees Celsius across New York. Nairobi and Dubai with sunny intervals, and Dubai with sunny conditions at a maximum of 25 degrees Celsius across Dubai. Thanks for tuning on UBC. My name is Tessa Millie. Stay tuned and see you tomorrow.
Thanks, Billy, for warning us as far as the weather forecast for tomorrow is concerned. And now, before we leave you, let's have a quick reminder of our top stories.
Brought to you by
How to get points. Just use MTN to make calls, send SMS, load airtime, buy bundles, or pay for MTN subscription services.
Everywhere you go, MTN.
Tonight, Constitutional Affairs Minister Muruli Mukasa presents torture report to Parliament. Uganda Investment Authority withdraws over 500 acres of land from 5 investors. FDC Deputy Secretary General Harold Kaija to raise flag in Ayala polls. And in sports, 26-year-old teacher Isaac Opio wins the UBC YoTV AFCON Grand Prize.
Was brought to you by Everywhere you go, MTN.
And that's all we had time for. Thank you so much for having kept us company. On sign language, it has been Elizabeth Nakakoni, and I am Rukidi Edward Kijanongoma, wishing you a blessed night.
The Deputy Speaker of Parliament has learnt with profound shock of the demise of the Iteso Paramount Chief, His Highness Papa Emorimor Augustine Osubanle Mokol, which occurred on Saturday 5th February 2022 at Mulago National Referral Hospital. Papa Emorimor has been a